All right, Secretary John Kerry launching a blistering attack against Israel to outline the next steps for peace with the Palestinians.
Regrettably, some seem to believe that the U.S. friendship means the U.S. must accept any policy, regardless of our own interests, our own positions, our own words, our own principles, even after urging again and again that the policy must change. And we may not be able to stop them, but we cannot be expected to defend them.
He went on for about 90 minutes, repeating that multiple times. But with 21 days until Donald Trump takes office, how do these parameters impact the new incoming Trump administration? Gillian Turner worked for the National Security Council under both Presidents George W. Bush and Obama, and she joins us now to break it all down. Good morning, Gillian. Now, I think you look at this and say it's probably not black and white. It's a little bit more gray. How does what John Kerry said affect our relationship with Israel going forward?
Well, I think you'll be hard-pressed to find someone this week who feels like it was really the only option. You know, the nuclear option was the only option here. But what worries me, coming from the critics of Secretary Kerry and the Obama administration this week, is it seems that a lot of hardliners on the right are really turning their backs on the two-state solution. And I don't know that's necessarily in America's long-term interest or the Israelis' long-term interest.
So I was in Israel a couple of months ago, met with folks on both sides of this issue, and some enthusiastically, some begrudgingly, acknowledged that facts on the ground have made the two-state solution untenable. And even the Republican Party in its platform removed the two-state solution. So is John Kerry and President Obama grasping at an old solution that just doesn't comport with reality today?
It was never a perfect solution, right? There was never an easy solution, or it would have been designed and implemented decades ago. The problem to me is that I haven't seen any real viable alternatives here other than a negotiated settlement that leads to a two-state solution in terms of bringing peace to the region. I have yet to see one that really fits the bill in the way that this does. Again, it's a reach, and obviously, it's been a generational struggle. It's going to take a lot of hard work, a lot of compromises on both sides, but I see it as the only potential here.
Yeah, you stand there in Jerusalem and you understand how intractable it really is. But, you know, you have to learn the lessons of history as well. Israel has said, hey, we've given up land before. We gave away the Gaza Strip. We've given away other places, and only to have them turn into terror havens and terror states. How do they negotiate with a partner in the Palestinians who's shown no track record or ability to actually live in peace and actually wants to wipe them off the map?
Well, a couple of sort of practical things here is I think that one thing that needs to happen is that the Palestinians have to uncategorically acknowledge Israel's right to exist as a sovereign nation. I think that the Palestinians have got to, for their part, stop with the violence, stop with the acts of terrorism or sponsoring of terrorism. But again, at a certain point, the Israelis are going to have to make concessions too. And to me, what that means is to at least halt, if not seize forever, settlement expansion east of the 1967 line.
That certainly is ongoing. We spoke to a settler earlier on today who has a very different view of that. Obviously, there's a lot of contention on this. Very briefly, what's the first thing President-elect Trump can do or should do to advance the ball down the field?
Well, one thing he's going to do is he's going to, I think, kind of increase cooperation with the Prime Minister of Israel. What I worry is while that will be great for the PR aspect of the bilateral relationship between the U.S. and Israel, what I worry about is that long-term, us bending over backwards to accommodate everything that the Israeli government tells us that it wants is not necessarily in our own long-term national security interest.
So that is a fine line, but starting to show that your friendship means something is a very good place to start, which is definitely needed. Gillian Turner, thank you very much for this segment and your friendship. Thank you.
Likewise.